Here we go. Thank you, Jerry Jones! I had a great time! Thank you. I'm going to exit the building now. Like a loser.
House that Jerry Jones built?
It's a house for losers.
Yep.
Charles Haley was 100% right. This, friends, is a house for losers.
Pretty much.
We suck. We suck. But I had a great trip.
Oh, boy. Well, happy game day, friends. Mark Holmes here, of course, with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo. And as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. It is game day in the NFL, but the Dallas Cowboys don't play until tomorrow night. So I hope you guys are going to enjoy watching some football and not going through the agony of seeing the Dallas Cowboys get the crap beat out of them, because that's literally where we are. And I'm going to say that maybe you guys shouldn't just it shouldn't watch me anymore. That maybe it's just too painful. You know, it's getting to be where you feel like I don't know what was there before they built AT&T, but was it some Indian burial ground or something? Did Jerry Jones piss off somebody? Is it the fact that the Dallas Cowboys magic was only in Irving, Texas? That site, which just doesn't seem to be. When we were there and riding with Walker Wade, and we went past the site, because I remember how the crossroads go through there, and remember seeing the triangular signs for, Texas Stadium and things. Did the magic stay at that site? I used to say when Washington Redskins moved out of D.C., I used to say they'll never win until they move back, that they belong in D.C. Now, so far, that's been open since 1995. They ain't won nothing. Now, I don't know if I was just happened to be lucky with that guess, but maybe it is that AT&T is just cursed. You can't explain some of the things that have happened to the Cowboys, like the catch, no catch. It's just like bad things just seem to happen at AT&T. I mean, hell, we were sitting here looking at a 58-year-old Mike Tyson's ass at AT&T. That Jerry Jones built this temple onto himself that is the Temple of Doom. How crazy is it in a game that you literally get mollywopped by a team that's going in a totally different direction than you are, that your backup quarterback throws a pass, Jake Ferguson fumbles it, and you are trying to stop him from being a strip or pick up fumble return for a touchdown, and you knock him out of bounds almost into your hurt quarterback, who had surgery a couple of days later, and the NFL turns around and fines you for unnecessary roughness because you hit him with the top of your helmet. A call that literally, I remember them doing that twice to Zeke Elliott, and I think once to Tony Pollard. I don't recall the NFL fining anybody ever other than Cowboy players. I want to say, and I could be wrong here, but I know of 4 times that was actually done after the fact, where there was no call on the field, that it was on Dallas Cowboys players. How crazy is it that you have an owner that literally said to a wide receiver that you're paying over $100 million that I don't give a rat's ass about you being able to see the ball for my team. I'm not putting up curtains because it messes up the idea of it being an outdoor, indoor stadium, the feel, the architecture of it. And then turn around and this is where it really gets crazy, is listening to Jerry Jones. I listened to him off of 105 The Fan, and he was talking about the fights and stuff and saying, the fights start out, he said, well, no curtains, or they're not doing curtains and stuff like that. Okay, that's what you said on 105 The Fan. But then you also admitted that the earliest fights start at 3 o'clock Central, which is prime sun time. Not the main event, mind you. We're talking about the lesser cards that aren't even being covered. But you put curtains up for those. Not even the undercard was being hit by the sun. But they had curtains. It is getting to be harder and harder to cover the Cowboys because it's all bullshit. If you listen to, and they're talking less and less about the Cowboys, to the talking heads, or you see the articles and things on here, Cowboys urged to sign blah, 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 blah. Cowboys, $25 million, I think that was what, hold it, let me get it here. The headline, because this is where you're just being bamboozled. Cowboys predicted as potential landing spot for $25 million coaching hire in 2025. Cowboys wire. You're like, ooh, $25 million coach. It's Bill Belichick. It's Bill Belichick. Of course, you hear, primetime, Dion and Sador Sanders. How many times have we heard Cowboys predicted to do anything and they sit on their ass and do nothing? Kind of like Mike Tyson. Ass is out in Dallas. You could bring in Bill Belichick, who I think at this point is been a great coach, but how is this different than bringing in some of the over-the-hill coaches that you have? I mean, we brought in Mike Zimmer, another over-the-hill coach who's had some success, and it's blown up in our face. We brought in guys like Wade Phillips, albeit they didn't have as much success as Bill Belichick, but at 75, I'm not sure. And looking how things went after Tom Brady, he ain't got Tom Brady here. How it went with that team. It was not good. And I think that you have, at this point, there needs to be a plan to rebuild this team that's going to take a couple of years. Or the Cowboys actually start going out and using free agency, which I don't necessarily see that happening. The Cowboys could, like we've said every year, they could get a whole lot of money, but choose not to. They'd rather tell you we believe in our own guys. Well, guys, you suck at finding our guys. You're believing in Santa Claus. And that's where I say, maybe it's time for you guys to stop watching me, because this is just hard. What Leo did yesterday, literally, because we're them boys and America's team and stuff, we're just laughed at. It's like, maybe it's just deserves. So we got Ceedee Lamb, who may be injured now, and I'm just trying to figure out who's going to make it through the season not injured at this point. Deron Bland, who had a historic season last year, has the mystery injury that just seems to keep on. We're getting close. If I had $1 from Stephen Jones every time I heard that we're getting close with Deron Bland, the season's over. Just shut it down. I don't know. Just shut it down. It's not going to matter at this point. You can't believe anything that you get from the Cowboys. And I'm still trying to figure out one or two things with Mike McCarthy. Because Mike McCarthy does not look like a coach that is upset about being on a hot seat. Haven't seen a temper tantrum. Haven't seen him mad. Literally joking about the curtains. So either the game plan is we want to be as dysfunctional as possible to bring as much attention to the Cowboys, or there's another plan that we want this year to be bad so it looks like it's organically tanking, as opposed to let's just not sign Dak Prescott and let's start Trey Lance for the season and tanking. I don't know what it is, but at least we can watch some football today. So early games today, and we'll be live streaming starting 1 o'clock. We got Green Bay and Chicago. We got Jacksonville versus the Lions. We've got the Raiders versus Miami. You know, that's going to be a shit bowl. We've got the Rams versus New England. The Rams, of course, are 4-5. We got the Doo-Doo Browns versus the New Orleans Saints, another team that mollywopped us, that's in the same boat as we are. The game I really want to see, and my brother-in-law will be here for this, the Ravens versus the Steelers. And you're talking about a 7-3 Baltimore team versus a 7-2 Pittsburgh team. Surprise, surprise. Russell Wilson was better than we had thought. And Indianapolis versus the Jets. Wow. Talk about being disappointed. I guess if you are a Jet fan, you're feeling about like a Cowboy fan because, you know, I guess as a Cowboy fan, at least we have some plausible deniability and say our owner didn't do anything to try and help our team. We didn't spend any money on free agents. You can't say that with the Jets. That team might be more cursed than the Cowboys. The Falcons versus Denver. Surprisingly, a team at 500 and above 500. Seattle and San Francisco, a game that San Francisco needs to win to really get back into the whole chase at 5-4, and Seattle definitely needs to get in. Shout out to our girl Ginger Rogers. Seattle definitely needs to win to keep their hopes alive to get back to 500, and even with San Francisco. And then the big game, Kansas City Buffalo. That's going to be a big one. So Kansas City is 9-0, but do they seem like they're really a 9-0 team? But there you go. And then Cincinnati versus the Chargers. Chargers, surprisingly, 6-3. I guess coaching matters. So as we get ready to get for our games, let's listen in to the Cowboys, of course, always being trashed.
Neek, show me something awkward.
Oh, Ceedee Lamb not being able to see the ball in the sun.
And now
the
Ceedee
owner
being hurt.
suggesting that we just tear down the whole stadium now. No, just close the blinds. We don't got to tear down the house. Just close the blinds. It's pretty awkward when your own stadium works against you for, I mean, what's this, like the third time we've seen something like this happen? Don't they punt the ball into the Jumbotron, too?
Yeah.
It's just a mess down there, man. It's just a damn mess.
Hey, you know what?
Beautiful place.
Hey,
Yeah.
they making money down there.
Yeah.
They ain't winning games. They making money.
That's for sure. The question is, where does it all go from here? The Cowboys clearly are a team that is going to have to do some rebuilding after this season. Maybe it will, maybe it won't involve making a coaching change. In the event that it does, Stephen A. Smith yesterday, as only he can, had a suggestion on first take.
Here we go.
I believe that the Dallas Cowboys should tank the rest of the season, get the number 1 overall pick, so you can draft Shedeur Sanders, and by the way, hire primetime Deion Sanders as your head coach for the Dallas Cowboys. I think that should be Jerry Jones's master plan. That's right, I said it.
Here's the truth. All kidding aside, Mike Tannenbaum and I said that in August. We said that the best course for the Cowboys would be that they hire Deion Sanders and try and get his son be the quarterback. And then a very strange thing happened. On the morning the season began, Dan Graziano,
remember that?
Half of that plan became impossible.
Yeah, because they signed Dak Prescott to a massive contract extension, historic, largest of all time for a quarterback or any player in the NFL. So if you bring in Shedeur Sanders, you're going to have to do something with Dak Prescott. Trading Dak Prescott would cost the Cowboys more than $100 million in dead money on next year's cap. And, you know, if you thought Jerry Jones was crying poor about the cap this year, wait till he has $103 million dead sitting there for Dak Prescott.
So let's move past the Shedeur piece of this. And candidly, if the Cowboys were to be tanking, how would you know the difference? But having watched them play so far. But let's live in the Deion of it, because I'm starting to hear that a lot, which means it's something that some people out there want to see happen. Deion Sanders to the Cowboys in a vacuum. Do you like it?
I mean, sure. It's like it seems like Deion Sanders is very interesting and exciting, which seems like that's more important to Jerry Jones than anything else. Deion it seems that he's gotten Colorado turned around pretty quickly, so that suggests that he has some coaching ability to do at multiple different places. I'm sure it's a job that he can do. I'm not sure that this is a job that anyone can succeed at, given the current state of the situation there and the way the expectations are, and the way the franchise is being built. So sure, Deion is so unorthodox a figure in coaching. He's so unique that maybe it will work, but I don't have any reason to believe that anybody, I don't think Belichick goes in there and fixes it. I mean, I would love to see Mike Vrabel is another great coach that I think I would love to see in that situation. But imagining Mike Vrabel trying to operate in a situation where the owner is giving press conferences outside the locker room before it starts, before they then can speak to you, seems absurd. It's a situation that I think most self-respecting coaches, like top coaches, would not be interested in, which is why I'm not sure that Deion should even consider it.
Right.
I actually like the fit. I think the issue would be Jerry more than Deion. I think Jerry might not like the shine that Deion would get and create. And Deion sticks by his conviction and does not care. He's not going to placate to anybody, whether it's Jerry Jones or anyone else. The head coaching job in the NFL is based on this. Can you hire good coaches to be your coordinators? And I think Deion can be and you set the standard for how you're going to tolerate your players. Is this guy what I want to be a Dallas Cowboy? That's what separates Deion from others. And when you see the Dan Campbells of the world, right, and you see these players, even D'Amico Ryan, it's the style of player that you want to run and be part of your organization. That's where I think Deion separates himself from other coaches, and I think that would be a very good fit for that.
As you were talking, it hit me that Deion is actually the perfect person for this situation. Sure. Because there has to be someone with a personality and credibility big enough that he can say, I don't care what the owner says. And that when the players try to circumvent this situation, Deion's going to say no.
No, that's exactly right.
I can't accept that. I'll go somewhere else. I don't need this.
That's right.
I do think that it has to be someone like that. And maybe Belichick fits in that category because of his cachet, where someone that is so well respected and has so much cachet or power or goodwill from some other situation that Jerry Jones can't overshadow them and make them look like they're just a crony for the owner.
Problem is, does Jerry Jones want to hire somebody like that? Right? I mean, that's the issue here. Because, I mean, you look at what we've talked about this Dallas Cowboys coaching job and how different it is from everything else. We've talked, how Mike McCarthy is a guy that is sort of okay with it. I'm going to coach the team. I'm going to do my thing. He's going to do his thing, and it doesn't bother me. Jason Garrett lasted a long time with the same mindset, right? When they had the job open, they didn't interview very many people. It was Mike.
Not very many people wanted it.
Lewis, and there wasn't much else on the list. So I think could Deion Sanders coach the Cowboys and be successful? Sure. I don't think we should underestimate Deion Sanders' coaching ability at this point. No, I think he's exceeded all expectations.
Are every single year multiple jobs that come open that would be in a vacuum infinitely more attractive opportunities. Infinitely more. The Cowboys are a team going in this direction. They're not getting any better anytime soon.
It's hard to get more attractive than Dak Prescott and Micah Parsons and CeeDee Lamb. So
yeah, it is. It's easy because then those three guys are getting paid 80% of the salary cap. You have no room to pay anybody else. If they pay Micah Parsons and don't trade him, as I have been advocating
your
for,
cap hits
you're not
won't be
gonna have
that
any
big.
money left to pay anybody else to play.
Deion's a showman, and where is the show bigger than it is in Dallas? Like it would.
You can build a roster around those talents. I get your point. Like the talent in the NFL is so close. Like it's not like college where it's going to be 3 good players, then a bunch of guys that are going to be working 9 to 5.
Draft well, you can do it.
Like they can build a team around that talent.
But Nick, Dak Prescott is the highest paid quarterback in the NFL. No disrespect meant to him. Is he one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL? Like, is he on the little tiny list?
Yes.
Yeah. On the little tiny list of best quarterbacks.
Okay, you want to say you're talking Allen, Mahomes, and Lamar? No. Okay.
Right.
After that, yes, he's in that next.
Yeah.
But if you're going to elevate a roster, all we ever talk about is how once you pay the quarterback, you can't afford to pay the rest of the guys. You need to have a guy who can elevate all these other people.
Oh my God! But we're not even close to.
Lamar's doing it right now. Like they paid the quarterback and they also paid
Derrick Henry.
The receiver's a rookie, but they paid the running back $8 million a year, and Lamar is.
They paid the running back almost nothing. That's the point. You can pay a running back.
This is the 5th best offense in the history of football. And my point is, just because you paid a quarterback doesn't mean you can't be good at football.
Right.
That's the absurd thing that we keep listening to people say. Like, once you pay the quarterback, unless your quarterback's the best in the league, you can't be good. Yes, you can.
Like last year's Rams, right? Stafford, Cooper Kupp, and Aaron Donald all making monster numbers. And that's a competitive team that got in the playoffs. And it can be done. You have to draft well, and you got to coach it well.
But it hasn't been done. They didn't do anything of consequence last year. When they won the Super Bowl, they didn't have all those guys getting paid all of that money. The point is, you're about to have the most expensive quarterback, expensive receiver, and expensive defensive player all at the same time on your roster. Go back and find me a team that can succeed that way.
And can still have $100 million to work with.
Bart Scott sits in that seat and talks all the time about how the quarterback needs to leave some cheese on the taco for other people, which is his expression, that they. Well, but it happens to be true.
I'm not. No, it doesn't though. I'm not advocating for guys taking less than what they deserve. General manager, do your job. Once your quarterback gets what he deserves, you then need to draft well. Coach, do your job. You then need to create schemes that elevate the players that are around you. The quarterback is not a magical being where we think that just because he's some special guy that he can make everyone else magic. No, pay the guy what he deserves. Don't need no cheese on the taco or whatever. Don't need no meat, lettuce. Take all the taco ingredients that you deserve and let the general manager do his damn job. You can allocate salary throughout the course of a contract. You can amortize it over the contract. This is just a thing that owners and general managers use as a negotiation ploy to bully players into taking less than they deserve. And Bart Scott talking about cheese on tacos or pizzas or whatever food is just perpetuating that nonsense.
Well, except that the whole salary cap is a zero-sum game. Everyone's going to get the money one way or another. It's a question of how you distribute it. And these teams, the teams that winds up winning are the teams that have the best right guard and have the best off-ball linebacker and can have someone to plug in when someone else gets hurt. And those are the guys you don't have when you're paying 3 guys everything.
Those are not expensive. If you don't make them expensive, those don't have to be expensive positions. That's the difference is where you're placing your cap money and where you're allocating. Are
you paying Micah Parsons $38 million a year next year? So now you got those 3 guys.
Absolutely.
Okay, good luck to you.
I'm sure ain't letting Micah Parsons walk out the door.
Okay.
That's for sure.
He can talk, he can say, he can have all the podcasts
all he wants.
He can host the Wheel of Fortune. If he rushed the passer like that.
Lord.
So the Cowboys.
There you have it. So, dysfunction is what we are. The big question. I'm going to say, that was the first time I've heard that whole thing. That's the first time I've thought a little bit differently. You know, when you think about, Deion, of course, liking the limelight and liking to be on Front Street. But the question is Jerry Jones going to acquiesce to Deion Sanders' ego to allow him to be primetime? I don't know about that. But we're going to get ready for game day here. We're going to be streaming, of course, for the game and watching other teams that are headed for someplace other than the scrap heap like the Cowboys. I'm Mark Holmes, and I appreciate you guys. And let me say shout out to everybody, especially, unfortunately, Lola had to leave last night during our stream and didn't get a chance for me to open up her brick. And here we go. Right there. Terrence and Lola, Dallas Cowboys miss hot sauce. Shout out to everybody who's helped out with our brick campaign. We're still doing it, so if you want to do something or be part of that, email me cowboysmark94, and I'll put the link in the description here for the brick campaign. And sometime next couple of days, we're going to get these put in our walkway. And I appreciate you guys, because I've got Rhonda over here. I got Dirty Sanchez. I got Randy, Billy. I got Michael Gibson, Big Gib, the Bush family, Tony Boo in the house. Shout out to all of you all for helping us with this. Have a great day, and I'll see you for game time.